Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The football world is buzzing with whispers, but nothing could have prepared fans for the shockwaves hitting the Miami Dolphins today. Anthony Weaver, the team's defensive coordinator, the man who has been the backbone of their defensive schemes, seems poised to exit the organization. Reports, still unofficial but increasingly insistent, suggest that Weaver has reached a point of no return with the Dolphins, and the atmosphere in Miami is now tense with speculation and anticipation. Known for his meticulous approach to defense, his impact on the team has been undeniable, elevating players and crafting strategies that have frustrated opponents across the league. Yet, despite his accolades and the respect he commands in the locker room, sources hint that disagreements behind closed doors may have pushed him to this critical crossroads. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are now scrambling to interpret what this means for the Dolphins' defensive future, wondering if this departure could signal larger internal conflicts or a shift in the organization's vision. As whispers turn into headlines, the narrative grows. Weaver, once the untouchable defensive mastermind, might be moving on, and the ripple effects are already beginning to unsettle the Dolphins' stability and strategy in ways no one anticipated or desired. The implications of Anthony Weaver's potential departure stretch far beyond the defensive line or coaching staff alone. It's not just about the X's and O's or the weekly adjustments. It's about culture, leadership, and identity. Weaver has been more than a coordinator. He has been a mentor, a strategist, and a figure who commands attention and respect in meetings, on the field, and in every hallway of the facility. When a coach of his stature leaves, it doesn't merely create a vacancy. It triggers a domino effect that touches recruiting, player development, and even fan perception. Rumors suggest that conversations behind closed doors have been tense for weeks, maybe months, with disagreements about scheme, personnel decisions, and the overall direction of the team. The Dolphins' management now faces a critical decision: how to respond to the loss of a coordinator whose fingerprints are on the very structure of their defense. Meanwhile, players who have thrived under Weaver's guidance may feel unsettled, wondering who will carry the torch and whether the philosophies they've internalized will survive under new leadership. The NFL is unforgiving, and change, even at the coaching level, can dramatically reshape a team's trajectory in ways that fans rarely anticipate until they are staring at the scoreboard. Speculation about Weaver's next move is already filling sports media chatter. Could he be heading to another team, looking for defensive revitalization? Sources hint at interest from multiple franchises, some of whom have been quietly monitoring his career trajectory for years. His previous stops at the Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans, and New York Jets indicate a breadth of experience that any team would covet. Weaver's understanding of defensive schemes, adaptability, and leadership make him a hot commodity, particularly in a league where the defensive coordinator's role can often define a season's outcome. Within Miami, there are murmurs of internal frustration, hints that differing visions with upper management may have precipitated this moment. Fans are polarized. Some mourn the potential loss of a defensive genius. Others see it as an opportunity for fresh strategies and a new voice in the Dolphins' coaching hierarchy. The rumor mill is relentless, with insiders dropping cryptic hints on podcasts and social media, each detail dissected, speculated, and amplified, creating a whirlwind narrative that feels equal parts truth and theater. The anticipation grows. Where will Weaver land? And how will the Dolphins adapt to this seismic shift in their defensive leadership? Sources close to the team report that locker room dynamics are tense, with players themselves divided over the possibility of Weaver leaving. Some express loyalty, admiration, and deep concern, understanding that the system he's implemented is not just about plays, but about preparation, mindset, and discipline. Others are cautiously optimistic, curious to see how a new coordinator might alter game plans, push boundaries, and inject fresh energy into practices and strategy sessions. The Dolphins administration has remained unusually tight-lipped, fueling further speculation as journalists and fans alike search for leaks, interviews, or any hint of confirmation. The narrative unfolding is cinematic. The revered defensive coordinator, the architect of countless plays, possibly walking away from the team that relies on him most. Meanwhile, Rival teams are undoubtedly circling, calculating how to capitalize on a man whose reputation precedes him and whose departure could shift power balances across the league. This is no ordinary coaching change. It is a potential turning point, a moment that could redefine careers, strategies, and the fate of the Miami Dolphins defense in ways that no preseason prediction could have foreseen, leaving fans with a mix of dread, excitement, and endless speculation. While social media erupts with fan theories, from emotional farewells to wild conjectures about secret offers and undisclosed tensions, the deeper story remains elusive. Analysts point to the subtleties in coaching contracts, the nuances in interpersonal dynamics between staff and management, and the pressures of NFL performance metrics as potential catalysts for Weaver's rumored exit. The Dolphins, a team with ambitious playoff aspirations, cannot afford instability, yet the departure of someone like Weaver would undeniably create a vacuum, both in tactical expertise and in the intangible morale that comes from trusted leadership. Coaches, players, and fans understand that football is as much mental as it is physical, and Weaver's influence permeates both realms. The uncertainty surrounding his status ignites debates in sports bars, podcasts, and online communities, turning casual observers into armchair analysts overnight. Every snippet, every cryptic post, every unnamed source is dissected for hidden meaning, and in the whirlwind of speculation, the boundaries between rumor and reality blur. The anticipation builds with each passing hour. Will Anthony Weaver solidify his legacy in Miami, or will this shocking exit mark the beginning of an entirely new chapter for him and for the Dolphins? Ultimately, the story of Anthony Weaver's rumored departure is about more than one man leaving a team. It's about the fragile equilibrium that exists in professional sports, where relationships, performance, and ambition collide in unpredictable ways. The Dolphins' defense, once considered a bastion of strategy and resilience under Weaver's guidance, now faces an uncertain horizon. Coaches talk behind the scenes, players adjust mentally to the possibility of change, and management must weigh options that could reverberate far beyond a single season. Rumors swirl, opinions clash, and the media cycle intensifies, but one fact remains. Anthony Weaver's potential exit is a seismic event in Miami, one that fans will be dissecting for weeks, perhaps months. His legacy, his influence, and the very essence of the Dolphins' defensive identity hang in the balance as speculation rages. Whether Weaver walks out the door or remains to guide the team through another season, this moment will be remembered as a defining chapter in the narrative of both a coach and a franchise navigating the complex, high-stakes world of professional football. The rumor mill surrounding Anthony Weaver's possible departure from the Miami Dolphins has intensified, with insiders suggesting that negotiations behind closed doors may have reached a critical impasse. The whispers hint at philosophical clashes between Weaver and upper management, disagreements not only about defensive schemes, but also about long-term roster strategies and player development priorities. Sources suggest that Weaver, known for his disciplined and analytical approach, may have found his vision at odds with the team's evolving direction, particularly as the Dolphins seek to balance veteran leadership with the demands of a younger, faster roster. Observers point to subtle shifts in practice routines, meeting tensions, and even off-field interactions as clues, each minor detail scrutinized to predict the timing and impact of his departure. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, understanding that acquiring someone with Weaver's experience and reputation could provide a tactical advantage, especially for franchises struggling to contain high-powered offenses. The NFL is a league where timing is everything, and as Weaver's rumored exit gains traction, the speculation grows, the story spreads, and fans across the country anxiously wait to see if one of the most respected defensive minds in football history will suddenly become available, reshaping the strategic landscape in ways few could have anticipated. Within Miami, the locker room reaction to the rumor is said to be mixed, with some players reportedly unsettled while others maintain cautious optimism. Players who have thrived under Weaver's system may feel a sense of impending loss, worried about continuity, play-calling familiarity, and the subtle leadership that Weaver provides on and off the field. At the same time, younger or newer players could see an opportunity to prove themselves under new direction, adding a layer of complexity to team dynamics. Sources indicate that locker room conversations, though private, reveal genuine concern for the team's future, with debates about whether the Dolphins can maintain defensive cohesion if Weaver indeed leaves. Management faces a delicate balancing act, keeping players motivated while navigating the uncertainty of a potential coaching shuffle. Meanwhile, fan forums, podcasts, and social media channels are awash with speculation, theories, and even conspiracy-laden interpretations of every gesture, comment, or cryptic social media post from Weaver and the Dolphins staff. In a league where perception can sometimes rival performance in importance, the rumor alone may already be influencing morale, preparation, and the collective psyche of everyone involved in the Miami Dolphins defensive structure. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Industry insiders speculate that if Weaver does depart, multiple teams could be vying for his expertise, ranging from playoff contenders seeking an edge to struggling franchises looking for a transformational figure. His previous stints with Cleveland, Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, and New York showcased not just experience, but a versatility that makes him highly desirable in the NFL coaching marketplace. Scouts and front offices reportedly admire his ability to adapt schemes to the strengths of his personnel, creating defenses that are both disciplined and unpredictable, a combination rarely seen at such a high level. Sources suggest that a move could be imminent, with teams already preparing preliminary offers and pitching visions that highlight their ambitions, resources, and the freedom Weaver might have to imprint his philosophy. Meanwhile, Miami's management is said to be contemplating contingency plans, including potential internal promotions or external hires, while weighing the risks of losing a figure whose imprint on the defense is profound and whose exit could trigger a ripple effect across strategy, locker room cohesion, and fan perception. The drama intensifies as analysts debate what Weaver's departure would mean not only for the Dolphins, but for the competitive balance of the league. Compounding the suspense, rumors suggest that Weaver himself may be weighing options not only based on salary or prestige, but also on organizational culture, autonomy, and long-term potential for success. Sources intimate that he desires a team environment aligned with his vision, where his input is valued, and where defensive identity is prioritized. The whispers hint at a deeper narrative, that Weaver's potential exit is not merely transactional but philosophical, reflecting tensions between a coach who has a distinct worldview on football and an organization navigating competing priorities. Meanwhile, media outlets, analysts, and fans dissect every detail, from press conference tone to sideline behavior, looking for confirmation or contradiction of the rumor. Within the Dolphins' complex ecosystem, the possibility of losing Weaver sparks questions about succession, strategy, and continuity. What becomes clear is that the outcome, whatever it may be, will influence the team's trajectory, affect player morale, and potentially reshape the league's defensive landscape. In an environment where rumors spread faster than touchdowns, the story of Anthony Weaver has evolved into one of the most closely watched and debated narratives in professional football today, captivating fans and insiders alike. Adding to the intrigue, whispers suggest that some Dolphins staff may be quietly lobbying to retain Weaver, highlighting the tension and urgency surrounding the situation. Confidential discussions reportedly involve attempts to address grievances, offer compromises, or negotiate terms that could persuade him to stay. Yet, the fact that these discussions are taking place at all adds fuel to the speculative fire, signaling that Weaver's exit is far from a settled matter. Meanwhile, rivals remain vigilant, potentially exploiting any instability that could emerge if Weaver leaves, while fans speculate endlessly about timelines, potential replacements, and the long-term impact on the team's defensive identity. Analysts note that a change in defensive leadership often has subtle but powerful effects, influencing player development, game preparation, and in-game adjustments. The Miami Dolphins now stand at a crossroads, with Weaver's rumored departure serving as both a challenge and an opportunity. Within this maelstrom of rumor, speculation, and behind-the-scenes maneuvering, the narrative continues to evolve, captivating the NFL community and leaving everyone wondering. Will Anthony Weaver stay to solidify his legacy in Miami, or will he step into a new chapter, leaving a void that will redefine the Dolphins' defensive strategy for years to come? That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.